We started the Cyber 912 Student Challenge 3 years ago to try and bridge the gap between the really technical parts of cyber and combine it in with national security, international relations, security studies thinking. What might be true at the technical level doesn't have to be true at the national security level, and vice versa. We need both of these to come together if we're going to solve the problems that are facing the United States and the world over the next 5, 10, 20 years.
This competition is for students to basically focus on some of the most important cybersecurity policy topics on an international level.
And we spend a lot of our time talking about technology. It really is a people issue. I was on the phone this morning with the CEO of a very large global company, and he's having trouble understanding it. So the fact that you all can get out there in the form of this competition and articulate these issues in a meaningful way makes me feel confident that the future is very bright.
It's been a wonderful experience, a unique opportunity for kids interested, particularly kids interested in this topic.
Just the international aspect of it and the laws that relates to conflict and just the policy. I guess interaction with the policy was what interested me the most.
Being around a lot of grad students who sort of have obviously found this subject to be narrowing for them in a good way is interesting, and kind of hearing their backgrounds and what led them to be involved in this type of study is interesting.
When it comes to cyber policy in the United States, internationally through the UN, and just different ways that the country's capabilities in terms of dealing with cyber threats and things, I've learned a lot about, and so that's been the most interesting aspect of it to me.
I'm very passionate about learning, and particularly cybersecurity, and it's my favorite field, and seeing that there is an opportunity that I can learn more in practice about cybersecurity policies, I wanted to try.
Here at the competition, I've been exposed to, leaders, both private and public sector, when it comes to policy making. It's really impressive. They definitely have a lot of who's who here, and so that's been really exciting. Working as a team has been great because we came from different areas. It's great to interact with all these teams, get to know what they're thinking about, different perspectives.
I think what's been amazing this year is not just the quality and the breadth and depth that the judges bring to the table, but the breadth and the depth that the students do as well.
We've really got great geographic diversity. We've got schools from really all around the country. We've also got a great range of ages and backgrounds, all coming together to give cyber policy advice and competing together.
To see all these folks from colleges around the country, grad students, undergrad, being presented with a realistic scenario of a threat based in real life, things that they may face once they exit school and go into government or company work. We're really training the next generation of cyber policymakers, cyber professionals here at this event.
And the students are answering questions that I don't think, even in the professional domain, policy domain, we have real answers for yet.
Developing the scenario, we wanted students to have to face a wide array of different challenges, from the most basic hacktivist elements to intense national security attacks with deaths facing Americans.
We specialize in simulating cyber attacks against mostly private companies. Those companies are looking to really understand what it feels like to be attacked by a sophisticated threat actor. Mike Tyson has a very famous quote, "Everyone has a plan and then you get punched in the face." We like to say that we're people's cyber sparring partner, so that the first time they get hit, it isn't for real and there aren't real consequences associated with that. We're going to simulate a cyber attack which is multifaceted. So this is exactly the kind of thing that the adversary in our scenario would, we presume, potentially be targeting.
If you're asking for a teaching point from somebody who's been singed, make sure you communicate the confidence levels. If you really get good at this and you're talking to policymakers, you're responsible for getting your truth into their head. And so you have got to figure out a way to communicate it that makes sense to them, not just to you.
We have prepared 4 policy response options: recovery, de-escalation, prevention, and isolation.
There are no perfect options that are on the table. Anything you do is going to have consequences and downsides.
The solutions won't always be a better firewall or stopping the ones and zeros, that there are all these other kinds of solutions.
So we're going to work with the NSA and the CIA on attribution, since it was a foreign attack.
There is the potential for additional economic loss, so we need to reinforce interest in our economic sector, reinforce information sharing, and really work with our partners on the ground.
One of the main reasons we're doing this is to help keep these students exposed and interested in this as a field.
The students really benefit from learning about how national security process works. The cyber world is not isolated from the physical world. It's very deeply integrated. International relations and cyber policy are intertwined.
It's really a core issue of national security policy, economic security policy, human rights security policy, and really ultimately foreign policy. So what we realized is that when you're talking about cybersecurity or even issues of international security, cyber warfare, which we spend a lot of time talking about, or cybersecurity or internet governance or internet freedom, they're not really distinct areas. They are overlapping in many different ways. And we see this particularly as we look at the challenges we face in this space.
We also think we're seeing great benefits to the sponsors of the program, because they can see not only is this really the only program of its kind in the world, but also they get exposed to these young leaders. They can spot the talent early.
This has been a phenomenal event for me as a judge to see some exceptional talent.
We hear all the time that cyber workforce, that there's a gap of talent. Well, we've got great students right here that are really shining through with talent, and a lot of the sponsors, I think, are really having their eye for some that they can grab.
And it's this Cyber 912 Student Challenge that provides, I think, a unique venue for the next generation of leaders to explore and debate these tough issues that are facing our nation while engaging with and meeting with people that are real cyber professionals and leaders in this field today.
Great job everyone involved, not just the teams that went into the finals, but everyone that got to here.